something like that. So, even though that, yes, I do advise against it, but just try and get your hand up as much as you can. Or just like a friend. Just... G'day y'all, you awesome fellow creatures of the internet that subscribe to me. This is the must-see Argonian here on YouTube, Bruzo Dragonius, and for this episode of Argonian.POV, I'm going to talk to you about the type of people that us fursuiters really shouldn't take for granted. The type of people that, besides the artist that does our web sheets, or if it's the photographers or the videographers that take pictures of our fursuiters, we really do need them for our own safety. And more importantly, if we decide to go out public suiting outside an organised event. The type of people that I'm talking about is the very topic that this episode is about. And that is fursuit handlers. Now, what is fursuit handlers, you might say? Even though that the first thing, if you're non-furry, you would think that fursuit handlers are, whether it's something that's even more fetish, whether it's if it's the human in puppy play or horsey play, or being this fetish type bullshit that I'm not going to get into that right now, because they're not those type of people. What we mean by fursuit handlers, actually the people that are out of suit and basically, or pretty much in their human forms or something like that, if you're a fursuiter and if you're a fursuit handler or whatever, and they tend to be our ears, eyes, or for our silent suitors, our voices. And what I mean by ears and eyes is that, well, even though that this head is a resin based, I'm talking from the perspective as the person in this costume or something like that. At the moment, I know for sure that I'm breaking character, but even though this is a resin head, I can hear you very clearly right now. I can pretty much hear exactly the same background noise that is pretty much what you hear in this camera very clearly, or whether it's in the background. But what I mean by ears is that especially with most fursuit heads, especially if it's foam based, 9 times out of 10, when a person's wearing a foam based head, if it's like something toony or something like that, whether it's like notable suitors of this would be pretty much Engel or Bakari, you know, they couldn't really hear that well when they're in fursuit because the foam actually muffles their hearing. Even though in the same way that when I'm wearing this head, you can't hear me very clearly. Mainly because of the balaclava that's coming in between the head itself and my human face. And most likely, if there's like the foam heads, can get so much built up of foam that, well, they can't hear very well. As a matter of fact, they're pretty much more deafer than they are out of suit. And the reason why I'm adding the fact that they're our eyes, because I know for sure that all of us fursuiters has very limited vision. More limited than what people are out of suit. Like at the moment, when my hands are over here, I can't see a thing unless I turn like that. But I'm looking straight and I can pretty much see my hands just about now with both of them. But if it's down there, it's pretty much more clearer. Just my fingertips. Just bear in mind that I don't have any eyes on the back of my head. I can only look forward. I can look that way. So I can't be aware if there's someone that is approaching me from the sides or in the back. Same as for instance that if I'm pretty much standing up, if I'm standing, and if there's someone, like say a little kid or something like that, pretty much wanting to approach me or something like that, have photos with me or wanting to give me a bit of a hug or whatever, standing up, like so, and just notice that the kid or whatever person that's in front of me is pretty much that shorter than me. I can't see you below me unless I do this. But just be in mind that some of us suitors tend to lose awareness of our surroundings because some of these fursuits and that are very, very restricted to our senses. So they can just they can simply tap us on the shoulder and just tell us what's been happening around me that I couldn't be aware of, so I can get more awareness. So I just sort of noticed at the awareness or something like that. And I did cover the... also, fursuit handlers can be also our protection as well. Not so much in organised events or something like that because, well, there's a lot of us in conventions or meets or whatever. If you're a first-time suitor or something like that at a convention, it is very essential that you get a handler. But if you're out there in the street, and if you're fursuiting, you see there's so many dangers that it is involved with public suiting, whether it's because being around these people in public, if we don't have a handler with us and that, or someone to be on our backs or something like that, could tell us when it's the right time to suit, and whether it's being out there in the streets, just going out in conventions and that, being on our way to conventions, or whether we're there for photo shoots or whatever, we fursuiters can be seen as complete weirdos. Because of the fact being is that we like dressing up as, or want to be seen as animals and that. And to be quite honest with you, I heard some stories, even though that I've been there myself, back in Harbour City FurCon, and I did address this issue in that vlog video of last year's Harbour City FurCon, even though it is currently on right now, and I wish I could be there, but, by the time this video comes out, Harbour City FurCon would practically be over. There's these times where, even though that I was out there solo shooting, I tend to, on my way to a rave, which is a couple of blocks from the Vibe Hotel, I ended up being running to a pack of drunks or something like that, and it just ended up being harassed and abused by them, and have a couple of people stepping on my tail, or just hitting me or something like that, and trying to damage this guy, especially pulling my horns and that, or not letting me go or something like that, trying to harass me and that. But I'm not going to go in full detail with that. But this is an example of what could happen, or what could even potentially happen, or what most likely could happen if you don't have a handler with you while public shooting. Being your bodyguard is not the only job requirement for a fursuit handler to do for you. The other example is if they would, is that they tend to must know the suitor very well, and that, for instance, because emergency situations, if there's something medically wrong with us while we're shooting, for instance, if we were suffering with heat stroke, for instance, because basically most fursuits, if not all of them, tend to make our bodies overheat, especially if you're a full shooter, and especially over the fact that you're wearing a couch, or probably a mat, or carpet, whatever the hell you want to call it as, basically, besides the fursuit, that you're wearing. And there are some stages where I tell this before, and I'm going to say it again, that you do tend to overeat, and the job for a fursuit handler to do is to stop you from do whatever means necessary to stop you from overheating, for instance, assist a suitor to either headless lounge, or pretty much advise the suitor to just break the magic. And trust me, sometimes when you're out there shooting, the magic should be lost. You may want to have a drink of water where the suitor might just do that, or you're just overheating and that. And what the handler does is that they need to read that of all these hand signals. Or if we're silent suitors or something like that, the job of the handler is pretty much to tell people about who the fursuiter is, what species they are, maybe if the person is available to take photos or videos or whatever. And even though that, most of the time, and it's a very good idea for us suitors, if we do have a backpack with water and all the stuff that we need. But if the handler has some of the stuff for us, it'll be a complete godsend. But if you're a fursuiter, maybe most of the time you need to carry your own things, and your handler's job is basically, if you're asking that you need something out like a fursuit brush, whether you just want to tidy yourself up for a photo, whether you're thirsty or something like that, and if you want to And if you need to de-hedge yourself, or most fursuiters with moving jaws, like what I have on, like, whether they need a bowl of water, maybe there's some other tasks that they could probably do for us. Also, I wouldn't expect fursuit handlers to do that. I mean, really, but that's if they really wanted to. But maybe your fursuit handler would want to, I don't know, would be willing to help you take photos of you in suit or with other fursuiters, so you don't have to do selfies in that, or whatever. Or if you don't have a selfie stick, maybe your fursuit handler could be your camera guy, if you're a furry YouTuber like me or something like that. Even though that I wouldn't expect my handlers to do that, that's if they are willing to. But even though that your handler could go by your many names, like, for instance, spotter, guide, or helper, you know, whatever you do, or some other names in that, maybe that they really wanted to, maybe that they don't. All that a decent handler that would do for you is to keep you out there safely and guide you through things. That's all. And maybe for your handlers and that, maybe this video would be a great video, may give you some information on how to be one or something like that. But fursuiters, if you're watching this, even though that yes, it does bring my attention that there are fursuiters that can be a bit of a complete arsehouse towards their handlers, or a bit of a jerk, and there are some times where I've seen videos of fursuit handlers supposedly fursuit themselves trust tend to just ditch them and just go to hell out there without them knowing. So if you're a handler at a convention, maybe it's also a good idea, if you want to go out somewhere just for a rest, if it's like in a hotel room or wherever, or if you want to just take a break from being the fursuiter's lucky, maybe it would be great manners if you tell the fursuiter that, you know, where you are. You know, on where you are, not just ditch them or something like that, because, you know, us fursuiters really hate that. And if you're a fursuiter themselves, and if you do got a handler, please, 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 I am begging you through the hist, don't be arseholes to them. Don't take them as your bitch, or be absolutely mean to them and expect them to do everything for you, because they're there for your own safety. Maybe it's awesome that you do have a handler that does it. And when you're treating your handlers or something like that, make sure you get someone that you trust, because what a fursuit handler is basically you're putting your lives and your suits in their hands. I mean, so basically you need someone that you can trust, someone that can be with you. It could be your mom, dad, your friends, your roommates, maybe a volunteer at a convention or something like that. Just anyone. Maybe most likely someone that you like. Your boyfriend or girlfriend could be your handlers. But whatever you do, I don't care who they are, but please don't bully them. Don't let them down. Do not be mean to your handlers. Just give them a bit of respect. And hopefully your handler can give you some respect in return. Or pretty much, I hope, most likely. So if you're a handler, or if you're a fursuiter with your handler, please, please, please treat each other with respect. That's all I'm asking right now, and that's what I would love to hear. And maybe perhaps, well, if they were there to take pictures of you or just take videos of you, it is rude not to credit them in these sort of things. Like, say for instance, you know, if your handler ends up being a camera guy, please credit them. And when that person is done being a handler had finished their shift being a handler, maybe for a night or whatever, or if it's like a couple of hours, maybe that you wanted to, I don't know, might want to thank them by just saying thank you so much, or just give them a bit of a hug, and even if they haven't done anything for you like on social media, you know, or if they like taking photos on that, maybe you can just do them in some other ways to thank them. Like, for instance, just take them out for dinner. Maybe just help them to register for the next convention and just give them a bit of a shout for some things like con registration, probably some like offer to pay for their accommodation. Maybe if your handler is a fursuiter themselves or something like that, maybe that you two people might want to just swap roles and you can be a handler to the person that was your handler while your handler's in fursuit. Even though that if both of yous both suitor and handler are both in fursuit, it's just literally blind leading the blind. And that could be a bit too awkward or something like that, because, yeah, it could be fursuit handlers could look out for even more than one fursuiter. But even though that I highly suggest to you that if you're going out there fursuiting, you need at least one person that's suiting in your group needs to be out of suit. And we just do it strictly for safety reasons, because one of us needs to be aware of things going on. That maybe in a group of, I don't know, some handlers can just pretty much can be able to assist maybe 2 or 3 fursuiters at once. That's if they're damn good at their job. And hey, even if you do get someone that knows martial arts or something like that, if your handler knows martial arts like boxing or karate or God knows what, that is really considered a complete bonus, because, well, I wouldn't recommend finding someone while you're in fursuit or wanting to punch someone while you're in fursuit, because, especially with the resin head or something like that, it could be damaged, or worse, you probably would be knocked out and be lying in a pile of your own blood. In that scenario, I mean. So I said everything that I know about the topic of fursuit handlers, so I'm just going to leave it there, even though that I spent forever making this video unscripted and that, as usual. That's what I pretty much know in this topic anyway. Maybe if you want to write down in the comment section whether you yourself has been a fursuit handler, or if it's you yourself that's been out there solo suiting or something like that, even though that personally I don't recommend it to myself nor anyone that's nor any fursuiter, no mascot or something like that, out in the streets. Maybe it's a different story when you're out there in a convention, because, there's a hell a lot of volunteers and constaff that can help you. They can assist you for some sort of things. And plus, there's the facilities out there with water and whatever is pretty much in the con space itself, usually. So maybe if you want to write down in the comments whether you're a handler, maybe if you've been out there public shooting, maybe that you want to have stories of times where you've gone out there public shooting, because I do read all your comments and I do enjoy reading them, and usually I do respond to them as well. As always, the links to my social media, whether it's Amino, Twitter, Facebook, the whole 9 yards that I am on social media, is on the description below. If you want to follow me on PSN, or if you want to play me on PSN, most likely if you want to meet me in Tamriel someday, just look out or search for my username on PSN, which is Bruzo21, which is pretty much in my video outro. If you like this video so far, make sure you give it a thumbs up, and you may want to subscribe to this video by pressing the subscribe button, and be the first one to know. Just press the bell icon as well. Maybe that you want to share this to your friends or something like that would like to volunteer as your handler or something like that when you're going out there fursuiting. As a matter of fact, please do, because at least I'm giving out some information on what fursuit handlers are and how to be one, or whatever. So hopefully this could be any use of you. So please give me a like, subscription, share this with your friends if you think that's useful. Thank you for watching this with me blabbing on about it. And as always, this is the most musty Argonian Bruzo Dragonius saying, I love you, you're awesome, you matter, and may the God you all. Bye for now.